Keisha Cole is a black woman. I'll explain why. On this channel, I try to bring, peace, rationality, and intelligence and thoughtfulness and consideration to all topics. Even though I can be harsh and brutalitarian in my delivery, sometimes the truth is not ugly. I mean, not pretty. It can be a little bit ugly. In this white system, there's something you should take notice of while we talk about mixed race Keisha Cole. When you think back to the trial that the whole black nation and white nation looked at, the unfortunate killing of the young black boy Trayvon Martin, everybody's tell you he was killed by a white man. I would probably have to remind you that not Trayvon Martin, but George Zimmerman, the man who killed him, has a black grandmother. Whenever you have that creamy white or glowing pale, it's a pinkish, creamy, pale white look and phenotypically white European hair, nobody questions your phenotype. So to some degree or another, I hate to have to say it, like, this is the raw reality. On an individual level, any two people, even two Africans, can tell you of the differences between themselves. One of them might say, well, my people come from the hot, dry savanna. We live where there are no trees and we hunt antelope. Another guy may tell you, well, I come from the jungle. We're more dark-skinned. We plant potatoes and we hunt small little animals. We're shorter and faster. Y'all are taller because you have to walk long distances. So, there can be all type of individual things, differences between them. But a person from the outside, especially a European, is going to say they're black. Black is just a general denotation of a European, of an African people. For example, nobody that's Native American called themselves an Indian. Native Americans could say the same thing that black people say. Well, I ain't no Indian. Those people are Asian. They're actually of Asian stock. They're closer to Japanese and Chinese than anybody in India. This is why the old terminology, Indian with a dot or Indian with a feather, exists. Because it's an unfortunate racial confusion that was put in place by white people. Because the only actual Indian would be the Indian with the dot. The other person is somebody that Christopher Columbus mistook for Indian. He was really an Asiatic person who was an indigenous inhabitant of the country that eventually called itself America. So back to the George Zimmerman example, you are in just the rawest reality of everyday human life. You are what people think you are. I'm going to just keep it real with you. That's how people are going to act towards you. People are going to act towards George Zimmerman like a white man. If he were an average everyday dude, people are going to act toward him like a white man. It's just that plain and simple. No question to it. Now, with Keisha Cole, I would say this. Personally, I'm glad my parents raised me with a strong sense of identity. I am the son of Terry, and I am the son of Tony, and that's good enough. I'm proud enough in my mom and dad to where I never for a day in my life do I have to stand up with a sheet of paper to tell me who I am. You know what I'm saying? I know my history. I know my culture. I know my current standing. I know my future projection. I know my desires. I don't have to take a DNA test. Now, Keisha Cole, I didn't look at it, but I think they said she's Asian, either Asian or East Indian. Now, let's just assume she's part East Indian. Nicki Minaj, even though she's had a lot of skin bleach and surgery, she's Trinidadian. Okay, that would be a country that has East Indian people. Now, there's an old video that I did on my old channel where this man who's an East Indian talked about how they didn't like black people, and how they would rather marry white people, and how this one East Indian family hated the fact that their daughter married a rich Nigerian, despite the fact that he was worth $1 million, and that they would rather her marry a poor little village boy. And they completely rejected their daughter's children that she had by a Nigerian. And that's how it is among other cultures, specifically among whites. So back to my point, Nicki Minaj has a nation. She's a Trinidadian. Like, she can go to Trinidad, she can live there, but she's in America because blackness is the foundation on which Nicki Minaj is going to build herself. Nicki Minaj is not going to sit up there and play a violin. She can, but there are not too many white folk that's going to listen to Nicki Minaj play a violin. I mean, she can do a DNA test and try to find if she's part Asian or white. There are no Asian and white people that are going to listen to Nicki Minaj play a violin. Nicki Minaj and Keisha Cole are black. They're living on a black foundation. That's what they were raised in. That's what embraced them. That's what's in their soul, really. I mean, you can try to look and see whatever else there is there. And like, Keisha Cole can say she's not black, but you're dating a black man, and you're dating a black man. That's going to make you default black. And remember, the George Zimmerman factor. I always call it the GZ factor. People are going to call you what you are. The case of George Zimmerman will call you what they see. The case of Zimmerman and Trayvon Martin was a case of a black man versus a white man. Or a black man that killed a white man that killed a black child, because that's what the world saw. Nobody's going to do a DNA test or run up on Trayvon Martin and George Zimmerman and say, let me do a DNA test. A person that's white that believes that black people are guilty of everything is going to jump into that fight between them two and side with George Zimmerman. And he's literally not even going to know that George Zimmerman has a black grandmother unless George Zimmerman tells him. But other than that, it's irrelevant. It's completely irrelevant. It means nothing. It means nothing at all. And like I said, any two people can make distinguishments between themselves, but that's on them. The people that run this country are white, and a black behavior that often ends up making black people lesser than everybody else is the very shit that got us in this country. It's inter-ethnic and inter-tribal and interracial conflict. It raged 400 years ago, and I can honestly say that at this point, it's just an unfortunate part of our character. It just is. That's all we do. Is that it's kind of like in any African country, you could have upwards of 300 different languages. That's 300 different people who view themselves differently. I'm not you. You're not me. But you could ask anybody from Australia, if I put them in Uganda, what are these people? Black. But if you go to those people and say, well, what are you? Well, they're going to have 1,000 different explanations about what they are. It's just a common behavior. It doesn't make you any different of a black person. It just makes you the same old nigga who always claims to be something else different than the other nigga, In this particular case, unlike the case of Naomi Osaka, where she has a Japanese mother and she has a Japanese nation, and she can go there and she would exist outside of the vicinity of black opinion. What difference does it make, or what any black person say about Naomi Osaka? And it really wouldn't matter if she's living in a completely Japanese or non-black land. If your head is messed up, your head is messed up. As of right now, she's got mental issues, So she's got a whole Japanese nation. But let's keep it real. If she didn't have the talent of being a tennis artist, they call people over there like her a haifu. And that's a slur, It's a slur. It doesn't mean anything good. It's a slur. But nevertheless, she has that island. And, She don't have to call herself black. She can, but if she comes to America, she gonna be black. But over there, she's haifu, which is the same thing, honestly. So she's a nation. She's a woman that came from a mixed marriage, who's black in America, and she's a haifu. Remove the tennis racket from her hand, and she's a haifu in Japan. The point, and I guess the last point that I'll make, is that the most responsible thing that a black man and a white woman, especially, or any two people, white man and a black woman, can do is to actually take some of that infrastructure or some of that privilege that the white person has, the non-black person, and actually build, construct, and invest in specific communities for their mixed children. Because I can understand the frustration of, kind of being in the back and forth, caught in the middle. I don't know if I'm black, white. I get pulled this direction and pushed that direction. These people want me to make a decision. Oh, it can be frustrating. But we don't make the rules, man. We just have to follow them. As the saying goes, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. And hell, if white people say that mixed people are black, then black people gonna say it. And some people are gonna have a problem with it. If black people say, well, you not black, well, that's still gonna be some people who gonna have a problem with it regardless. So it's an issue regardless. You know what I'm saying? It's a frustration, but hopefully in future time to come, things will work themselves out. But Keisha Cole, until she's embraced by these East Asians or whoever Asian she's mixed with, I can't see Keisha Cole doing no R&B music in front of a bunch of Asians. Could you imagine that? Anyways, I'm out, man.